My hat! Alright, so here we have a Traxxas Slash. So I was running this, and the cap popped off, but I didn't realize it, so I kept running it for quite a while actually. And the reason I didn't realize it is because, so this link right here will actually hold the shock in this position. So as the truck sets, see, it'll place it right there, and then the spring will manage to actually hold it up. But in reality, there's nothing there. So I need to remove these, and I need to remove the caps. So I'm going to be using some aluminum caps for this, which they only had the blue, but it doesn't matter. But these are number 3767A. And again, they do make other colors, but these are the ones I'm using. And I'm only going to replace the front two. The rears will come off. They'll generally come off if you take a big jump and then you're landing on the rear, or if you start hitting things, rocks, things like that. But right now, we have to remove these front ones, and I'm going to remove the shocks completely. You're going to use a 2mm driver. And I really do not want to get oil on my mat. I'm going to use this rag, place that there. And these are just cut up t-shirts, really. Once the collar wears out, I turn them into rags. I mean, I do use them until they're very worn out. Here we go. So just remove the shocks. And this is pretty normal for this to happen, especially when you're doing jumps similar to what I was doing with this truck, hitting things, crashing. And the reason behind it is because the caps are plastic as well as the shock bodies. So both of these things are plastic. Therefore, what ends up happening is they both have a lot of flexibility, and it just gives out. But, I mean, the threads look fine. And just going to clean the bodies just lightly. I mean, there is going to be a difference once I'm finished with these. Oh, the bottoms were loose as well. Huh. All right. And that is now tight. Good. And I'll use this other one over here. We'll lay that one. There's the screw. And I'm going to remove the other shock as well. So the reason why I'm removing this other shock, even though nothing happened to it, is it's just a matter of time. It will happen eventually to this one as well. So in this case, I'm already doing it. Why not? Now I could do all four, but I'm only going to do the front ones for this. And the reason why is eventually this truck will probably end up getting GTR shocks in the front, which means that I can move the caps to the rear. So it's not a big deal. All right. So in order to remove this, wow, this is quite filthy. You just pull on the string, and then this little thing slips out. There's a little cutout right there, and it just slips out. So I will be placing that there. Let me remove the spring. Wow, this one did not. It looks like this one, the cap did not pop off, but there's no oil. So the oil definitely came out. Let's see. What happened? Well, I'm going to have to see because there's no oil. Bottom loose? Oh, the bottom's kind of loose. Maybe that's what happened. So we shall see. let's see. I'm gonna need the pliers to open this one. There's a lot of pressure. Yeah, let's see. Actually, I didn't need the pliers. I could have used a driver. Could have just stuck my driver in here and then just spun it. All right, there we go. There was oil. All the oil is gone. I'm just gonna clean this. Then I'm gonna put some oil, see if it leaks. The body looks fine. Now, as I do this, I don't want any dirt to fall in here. That's why I'm doing this upside down on the shock body. All right. And let me see. Well, all right, there we go. I'm just examining the inside. It looks fine. Well, let me tighten this back up. And let's see, now I'm looking for marks inside. Just clean it. So all I did is I pushed the piston all the way up, and then I just used this clean part of this rag to just wipe that off. And to be honest, it feels very smooth. And there's no oil leaking from the bottom, so I think everything's fine. Probably at some point came off the cap. This was very dirty. So I'm going to try to keep the shocks on the same side. So this one will still be my left, this one will still be my right. All right, good. So let's go ahead and open up these shock caps. We'll deal with the springs later. And for these, you're going to have to use different screws to screw on the shock caps on. Now, it doesn't matter front, rear, they're the same, so just grab two. Any two will do. And the screws that you will be using are these here. Let me open up the bag. It'll be easier this way. I open it. All right, so as you can see, it's a different type of screw, and the reason why is, notice there's no bushing or anything in here. So this screw has that little bushing built in. So that's what we're going to be using. So I'm not going to install them yet. Right now, I'm just going to use this Traxxas oil. If you're not using Traxxas oil, you don't want to run too heavy of oil in the stock shocks. And the reason why is if you start going, say, over 30, you say a 35 weight, something like this, and you do not drill out little holes there, it'll be too much pressure, too much dampening force, and you're going to bend the shafts. That's another reason why you should get GTRs instead. But let's see, I'm going to start putting some oil in the shock. And I'm just going to fill it to the brim, or close to it. And yeah, it's close to it. It's probably about 3 drops away from. I'm just going to push the shaft up so it moves the piston up, just to get rid of any oil. Sorry, air. Get rid of any air bubbles. There's a few coming up, not too many. I'm going to add a little more oil. I'll do it again. Slowly. And that's all you have to do. I think that amount of oil is good, and I am going to get rid of the pack. I don't want to run pack in here. Again, it just adds more pressure inside of the shock body. So again, notice I twisted left, and then once it clicked, I know it sat properly. So now I can start going right and tightening this. Now, once I get close, I'm going to get rid of that pack. And here, let me just tighten the whole thing, and I'll show you what I mean. So if I tighten everything here, and I compress this, actually nothing happened. It's so strange. Usually you would press in, and then this would start coming out, or you would feel pressure. This one I did not. And I'm just looking for oil leaks. Let's see. Right. Let me take this apart. A lot of air bubbles now. All right. That would explain it. All right, so moving the piston up again just to pop those air bubbles. And I will be needing more oil. Let's add more oil. I was just doing that to pop more of the air bubbles. All right, let's put this on there again. So again, always when I place it, I go left, and once it clicks, then I'll go right. And the reason why is it's very, very easy to cross-thread plastic. So that's the reason why I take the extra precaution. All right. Actually, there isn't much pack, so I'm going to leave it. This actually works. Huh, well, that works, so I don't have to worry about it. So sometimes with shocks, what ends up happening with these dampeners is you'll get something called pack. So when you move this forward, you'll get to about there, for example, or right about there, and then you'll feel a lot of resistance, like it wants to bounce back, and it's just really resisting compression. So that's what I want to get rid of. And the reason why is if you run pack on these, you're just going to break the shafts. Well, you don't break them, you bend them. They bend quite easily. All right, so that one is filled. Now that that one is filled, we'll fill the other one. And for the other one, it's the same process. Fill it up with oil first. Now I'm going to try to get rid of those air bubbles. Oh, that was quite a bit. Not sure if you saw. All right, they're gone. Air bubbles are gone. All right. There we go. And again, I'm just using the Traxxas oil. I have no idea what weight this is. This actually came in with a set of GTR shocks that were installed in a different vehicle. But I still keep it just to use it on these trucks. And oil, you do have to replace the oil every so often because oil does age and wear. It deteriorates over time. So keep that in mind. The other thing too is it's good to keep that oil, even if you never use it on shocks, just keep it around so you can use it on your tires for your on-road. All right, there we go. And we're almost finished. Just open it up. Should be quite a bit of air. Let's see what we have. Quite a bit of air. Just pushing on the pistons. Something else that you can do is you can grab your driver and just start poking at the bubbles, or if you just grab this and start putting oil, bubbles will go away. And they're going away. There's a drop, good. And now, the reason why you may get these aluminum caps, if it's for your vehicle, it's probably because they're inexpensive. They're about $15 for four, so you get all four for about $15. Now, if you have the budget, I would say get the GTR front and rear. The fronts are going to run about $35. The rears, I think it's about 36. I think they're about $1 more. But anyway, you're looking at somewhere around 35, 36, no more than 37, I believe. But then you have to get the springs, and the springs are going to be $5, $6 a pair. So right there, you're already looking at about $80. And then you need the oil. Oil can run. This one doesn't have a price tag. Well, let's see, Team Losi. This one was $4. Well, $3.99, right? So let's just say 5. So you're looking at about $85. Now, if you pay taxes, or if there's a tax, well, factor that in. All right, so our shocks are ready. All right. Good. We will leave these here, and I'm going to try to just clean these springs just a little, even though we're about to run it. But might as well. So all I'm doing is I am just putting a little rag in there, and then I'm just turning the spring. So it'll clean most of the grime. As you can see, it's just leaving it there. And just going to place it here. It's a lot of dirt and oil, I'll tell you that. Now I'm just going to stick it here, and this time I'm going to turn the other way. And this is a relatively easy way to clean this. The other way you can clean these springs up quite fast is with an air compressor. Just use an air compressor. But keep in mind that some of you watching this, you might be 10. So I don't know if you have an air compressor or if you're allowed to use an air compressor. I was when I was a kid. I was allowed to use many, many tools. That's the advantage of being around a farm. And yes, when I was that age, I already knew how to drive a tractor. So that being said, here we go. And now I'm just going to seat this here. And that is it. So one is complete. Nephew's probably going to look at it, see the caps, like, oh wow, those are cool. It's like, yeah, I installed them for you. Oh, nice, thanks. I won't tell him why. He'll have to watch the video. Alright, so let's go the other way. And I'm just cleaning the spring. Alright, and that is it. So if you remember how grimy these springs looked, I mean, they look pretty clean now. Pretty clean. So we'll go ahead and seat this here. Now, this is filthy. Let me just run this little rag on it. And that is that. So now I have 2 dampeners. Fully working, no leaks that I can perceive. That being said, now I just need to install these. So you're going to install the screw, then there's a little washer. Install the washer. And the nice thing about these is they are hex, so you can still use your hex driver. The only downside is they're 5.5 millimeters, so you need a different driver. Which, if you already have one, great. If you do not, you're going to need a 2.5 millimeter driver for these top screws. Now I'm going to screw the top ones first. It's just easier. And then I'll do the bottom. And I'll do both of them, the top first. So I'll leave that there. And install this here. And there we go. But again, when it comes to cleaning these, you can grab a brush and just shorten it, cut the bristles a bit, maybe to about 1 inch. Or you can use an air compressor, or both. Air compressors work great. Just get something with more capacity than 3 gallons. 3 gallons is really not that much air. You're just going to clean one little shock absorber, and you're going to have to wait for it to fill up again. Who's Phil? What do you mean, Phil? You said fill up. Fill up, as in God. No, I'm kidding. Right, here we go. Alright, actually we've been bashing, so I'm going to go on the inner hole. So if you're doing jumps, you want to go on the inner hole, here at the bottom. If you're going to try to race, go on the outside. So higher traction, go on the outside. Lower traction or bigger jumps, go on the inside. Alright, so I hope this is very helpful for those of you that just got in the hobby or getting into the hobby. Some of you may just be getting into the hobby and you have children, so you're watching this so you can fix your child's RC. That's really, really cool. Some time with children and parents is always good. And some of you might actually be children watching this, starting to wrench on your own RC. That's fabulous. Just keep track of your parts. Don't lose any parts. Make sure you can reassemble everything. If you cannot, just rewind the video. You'll figure it out. You'll be fine. You can do it. But here we go. So everything is installed. We're going to move this filthy stuff out of the way. And there we go. So my nephew's truck is ready to see some action. There, rear's fine. They always come too soft. But that's fine. Again, if you want to tune them, get the GTR shocks. But as far as the aluminum caps, there we go. They're fully installed. They look great. It's an inexpensive option. Again, they are $15. Versus GTRs, depending on where you live, you may pay $90 to $100 roughly, maybe $105, depending on taxes in your area. But this is it. Thank you so much for watching.